The Tinton Falls Borough Council being held April 21st. This meeting is hereby called to order. Would the clerk please read the open public meeting statement?
Pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the Borough of Tinton Falls official website and the municipal building at least 48 hours prior to the meeting and filing with the Borough Clerk all on November 10th, 2025.
Thank you. May I ask the clerk to call the roll?
Mr. Alessi?
Here.
Ms. Buckley?
Here.
Mr. Neese?
Here.
Mr. Parikh?
Here.
Mr. Nessie?
Here. At this time, I would like to invite everyone to join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are two sets of meeting minutes for approval this evening. May I have a motion to approve the March 16th, 2026 special meeting minutes and the March 17th, 2026 regular meeting minutes?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Alessi. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Parikh. May I have a roll call?
Mr. Alessi?
Yes.
Ms. Buckley?
Yes.
Mr. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Parikh?
Yes.
Mr. Nessie?
Yes. The next item on our agenda is reports. We'll begin with Mr. Fallon, our interim business administrator and CFO, who will present the 2026 budget.
Great. Thank you, Council President. I'll let Dan dim the lights here. Thank you, Council President, and good evening, everyone. I'm Tom Fallon, the borough's Chief Financial Officer. Thank you for joining us tonight. And on behalf of the Mayor, I am pleased to be presenting the 2026 municipal budget. Next to me is the borough's engineer, Tom Neff, who will be presenting the capital section of the budget. If you're watching on YouTube and would like to follow along, you can access a PDF of the presentation on the borough's website homepage at www.tintonfalls.com under News and Announcements. So we'll get started with the first slide. The first slide is a pie chart which shows what percentage each entity represents of all the tax dollars that are collected. So if we start at the upper left-hand side, for every dollar that is paid in taxes, 23 cents goes to fund the local municipal budget, 1 cent goes to fund the municipal open space tax, 3 cents goes to fund the fire districts, 15 cents to the county, 38 cents to the elementary school budget, and 20 cents to the high school budget. Next slide is the same pie chart, just with the municipal portion exploded. The local municipal budget and municipal open space budget, those are the taxes that the borough controls under the budget that we're going to discuss tonight. So what does a resident get for their 24% that they pay in taxes? They get essential services, which are all of our infrastructure and roadway improvements, police and public safety, public works, solid waste removal, garbage and recycling disposal, engineering and planning, public health services, the court system and justice, tax collection and distribution, property assessment, registrar services, zoning code, and housing enforcement, emergency notification system, and curbside recycling. And then also quality of life services that the borough provides, the borough parks, of course, recreation programs, the playing fields, open space acquisition, open space maintenance, affordable housing, historic preservation, and funding of our borough library. So the results of the 2025 operations as it pertains to our budget. The Borough of Tinton Falls budget structure continues to result in a positive position in available cash and reserves, adds to our ability to stabilize the tax rate and weather any economic downturns. The percent of fund balance held in reserve remains strong, decreasing modestly from 35.42% to 32.26%, of the following year's total budget. The borough regenerated 91% of our fund balance utilized in the 2025 budget. We exceeded our revenue targets by 27%, aiding in the regeneration of our surplus. The 2023 through 2026 budgets combined have over $1.6 million remaining under the 2% levy cap. That equates to approximately 2.7 cents on the tax rate. Those are property taxes that could have been levied by the municipality, but under the law, under the levy cap law, but we did not levy those taxes. The tax collection rate remains strong, rising slightly from 99.14% to 99.33%, which allows for the stability and the appropriation of the reserve for uncollected taxes. The 2026 budget structure, generally it's the budget is overall a fiscally sound and responsible plan. There's no gimmicks or structural imbalances within the budget. It provides the necessary funding for all municipal services and for continued and increased capital investment in the borough's infrastructure, parks, and equipment. It also allows for the regeneration of a majority of the surplus utilized. As far as the revenues go, the borough continues to be conservative in our revenue projections so as to regenerate surplus utilized. Regular state aid remains stagnant for the past 17 years at $1.5 million. On the appropriation side of the budget, total operating expenses have increased by 5.44%, a result of continued budgetary pressures in the group health insurance appropriation. Exclusive of health insurance increases, operating expenses have increased a marginal 2.42%. Total budgeted salary and wages, a component of operating expenses have increased by 1.42%. Debt service remains stable under the borough's aggressive debt management plan. Total budget appropriations have increased by 4.69%. And the borough continues to employ a hybrid strategy for its capital needs. We appropriate all non-road capital improvements directly in the budget and authorize general debt only for road improvement programs. This strategy has resulted in a reduction in the borough's net debt and in long-term borrowing costs. I'll get a little more detailed on the next slide, but this is a summary of the revenues in the budget. The top line is state aid. As you can see, state aid has remained the same in 2026 as it was in 2025. Municipal revenues are somewhat flat, decreasing by a small amount, $9,800. Delinquent tax receipts are down $100,000. That just means we have less delinquent taxes from 2025 to collect in 2026. We're utilizing $550,000 more in our fund balance than we utilized in 2025, and we'll discuss that a little bit more on the next slide. And the amount to be raised by taxation will increase by a little over $1 million, or 5.6%, for a total increase in revenues of 4.69%. The 10-year average increase in the amount to be raised by taxation of the borough is 2.6%. So over the past 10 years, the borough's averaged an increase of 2.6%, which is less than the 3% average in the consumer price index over that same time. Beneath that is the assessed values taxable. So those are our taxable ratables. They've increased from $5,578,000,000 to a little over $6 billion, or $421 million, which is 7.56%. Of that $421 million increase, $81 million of that increase is due to new assessments, and $340 million is due to increases in existing assessments based upon market value adjustments. Beneath that is the municipal tax rate. Based upon this budget presented tonight, the municipal tax rate will decrease from 32.4 cents per $100 in assessed valuation to 31.8 cents, or 6/10 of a cent, or 1.85%. So 1.85% decrease in the municipal tax rate. This is a pie chart of where the borough's revenues come from. The top right corner is our surplus. We're anticipating utilizing $5.8 million of our surplus. That's about 55% of what we have available, which is slightly more than the 48% we utilized in 2025. The borough's surplus remains historically strong at $10.5 million, and the additional surplus being utilized this year is acting as a tax stabilization revenue to partially offset the increases in health and pension benefit costs. It is important, obviously, to maintain healthy reserves for cash flow, maintaining a strong bond rating, which reduces our borrowing costs and protection against economic downturns. The next revenue section is local revenues, which is the $1,695,000 or 5% of our budget. That consists of various licenses, fees, and permits, uniform construction code fees, court fines and costs, interest and costs on taxes and deposits, and commercial garbage fees. Below that is the state aid, $1,508,000. That accounts for 4% of our revenues, and that revenue has remained stagnant for 17 straight years. In 2009, this revenue was reduced from $1.9 million, which funded 9% of the borough's total budget at that time, to the current level of $1,508,000, which only funds about 4.5% of our budget. So over the last 17 years, although costs of goods, services, personnel, continue to grow, state aid has not grown with it. The piece below that is shared services, $310,000 or about 1%. The borough receives approximately $310,000 from Eatontown under a shared service agreement for municipal court services. The other large item beneath that is other special items of revenue, which accounts for 11% of our budget. That consists of our host benefit agreements with the county, Mazza, and Marpal, mainly the county, cable and FiOS franchise fees, hotel occupancy tax, operating grants, and the long-term tax exemption agreement with Bellworks. Delinquent tax receipts, 2%, accounts for 2% of our revenues, and those are 2025 uncollected taxes that will be collected in 2026. And then the big piece of the pie is the amount that we're going to raise by taxation under this budget, which is 59% of our revenues, which is a slight increase from the 58% in 2025. The amount to be raised is $613,000 less than the amount allowable by the state 2% levy cap for 2026. This is historical municipal fund balance. It shows a positive and stable fund balance trend from 2020 to 2025, due mainly to responsible budgeting practices and policy decisions. This is another way of displaying borough fund balance. The first bar in each year is our fund balance amount at that year. The second bar is the amount we're utilizing in the budget, and the third bar is the amount that we're leaving, and that we're not utilizing, essentially. And as you can see, the trend's been fairly positive. It used a little bit more, a little bit less in some years. This year, we're utilizing a little bit more to help stabilize property taxes. Non-utilized fund balance as a percentage of a budget. Another way to present it, as you can see, it's down a little bit in 2026, but still very strong, because we are utilizing a little bit additional fund balance this year. But the more non-utilized fund balance you have on hand, the better we're positioned to manage emergency and any unexpected economic issues, and to stabilize municipal taxes. This is a summary of appropriations. This is a summary of major categories compared to 2025. So at the bottom, you can see total budget appropriations have increased by 4.69% from the 2025 budget. Total salary and wages have increased by a marginal 1.42%. That increase is comprised primarily of contractual salary and step increases and offset by some retirement savings this year. Other operating expenses exclusive of health insurance have been held to a marginal increase of 3.71%. And as discussed earlier, health insurance has increased by 21.7%, leaving us with a total operations increase of 5.44%. Capital improvements directly budgeted have remained stable at $1,055,000. Debt service remains stable. Statutory expenditures have increased by 4.37% due to increases in the required state pension payments. And the reserve for uncollected taxes has increased marginally by $56,000. This is a pie chart similar to what we did with the revenues, but this is the other side of the equation. This is the spending side. This is the appropriations. Our appropriations are within the state budget cap limits. We could start at the bottom at the Department of Public Works, which I will say before, I would also like to mention that the specific function costs, like for Public Works, do not include the benefits for those functions, as those are budgeted as required under separate appropriations. So we could start with Public Works. That accounts for about 14% of our budget, and that includes our streets and roads, our sanitation, our mechanics, buildings and grounds, and our Community Services Act. Next to that is Public Safety, accounts for about 23%. Police dispatch, and 911 through the Monmouth County. Emergency management, aid to emergency medical services, fire prevention, and the municipal prosecutor are within that. Employee group health insurance is above that, accounts for about 14% of our budget this year. And this appropriation has increased by $838,000 from the 2025 budget appropriation. The borough, over the past couple of years, has continued to explore and offer more cost-effective health plans that are beneficial to both the employee and employer to reduce costs in this area. This appropriation is net of the $1,010,000 that our employees contribute towards those health insurance premiums. Insurances other than health are above that. That's 3% of our budget. That's our liability, workers' comp, unemployment insurance. And that's remained relatively stable over the years with a minor increase for this year. Land use, UCC, and code enforcement makes up about 2% of our budget. That's Department of Planning, Zoning, Housing, Code Enforcement, and our Uniform Construction Code Inspection Department. General government makes up 8% of our budget. That is the appropriations that provide general services: administration, clerk, mayor, council, finance, tax collection, tax assessor, purchasing, law, engineering. Next to that is the reserve for uncollected taxes, which is 3% of our budget. And that is a statutory amount that we need to appropriate for uncollected taxes to ensure that our cash flow to meet all tax requirements to our other entities. Since we collect all the taxes for the counties and the schools, they do not need to appropriate a reserve for uncollected taxes, but the municipality does. Debt service is next to that. That's 8% of our budget. It's stable with a slight decrease of $23,850 from 2025. Of the $2,494,350 in debt service, $2,020,000 of that is principal payments, and $474,000 is interest costs, and an additional $200,000 in principal payment on open space debt is being appropriated through the Open Space Trust Fund. Debt service remains low at approximately 7.7% of our total budget appropriations. Next to that, direct capital improvements is 3% of our budget. Those are directly funded cash capital improvements that are in our budget, which will be discussed later under the capital section of the presentation. And the other 1%, that's just other types of appropriations that we have. That's municipal library funding, accumulated leave compensation payments, length of service awards programs for our EMS, stormwater management, and operating grants. Shared services is below that. That counts for about 1% of our budget. We have 3 main shared services. The borough receives 2 of them, one from Monmouth County for our dispatch and 911 services. That's reflected in the public safety section of the pie chart. And we receive from Freehold Township Health Services, which is reflected under our Health and Human Services. We also provide one shared service for a shared court to Eatontown, which is those expenditures are what is reflected under that part of the shared service part of the pie chart. But there is also offsetting revenue of $310,000 for that service. Social Security, that's 3% of our budget, and that's the borough's portion of our Social Security payment. Pension costs are 9% of our budget, or $2,991,000. That includes the police retirement system of about $2,060,000, the public employees retirement system of $916,000, and $15,000 for the deferred comp retirement program. It's a total increase of about $147,000 from last year, or about 5%. In 2014, these appropriations totaled about $1,380,000. So over the past 12 years, from 2015 to 2026, the total pension appropriations have increased by about 146%, or $1,611,538. These required contributions are calculated and provided to the borough by the state of New Jersey pension system. Utility expenses and fuel, that's all of our, that counts for 3%. That's all our regular utilities, including street lighting and fuel for vehicles. Court and public defender, I think that's self-explanatory. That's our court and our public defender departments. Parks and recreation counts for 3%. That's our Division of Recreation and Maintenance of Parks. And also some maintenance and improvement costs are also provided for through the Open Space Trust Fund. Then you have the last piece there, the Health and Human Services. That's 1%, and that consists of the health services provided through a shared service agreement with Freehold Township, and also our animal control services. So our net statutory debt from 2014 to 2026. It's a pretty impressive chart. The borough has reduced net debt by over $8 million, or 38%, from 21.37 to 13.23 million. This equates to an average reduction in net debt of $678,000 per year over the past 12 years. And as a result, the borough is paying almost $500,000 less in interest annually today than it paid 12 years ago. This was achieved by modifying the capital and debt management strategy, whereby the borough invests more than ever in its infrastructure and capital needs, but funds a much larger percentage in cash in the operating budget and not by the issuance of debt. This will be further discussed during the capital budget presentation. Plans are to reduce net debt by an additional $4 million over the next 8 years. So our credit rating, the borough received an upgrade to our credit rating in 2020 to a AA1, and we received affirmation of that rating in August of this past year, August of 2025. A AA1 is one notch below the highest and best possible rating of AAA. As you can see, Moody's had some very nice comments on the borough and its financial management. And obviously having an excellent bond rating helps the borough obtain lower interest rates when going to market to issue bonds or notes, which in turn reduces our total debt service requirements in the budget. Municipal tax rate, this is a bar graph, indicates a decreasing municipal tax rate over the past 8 years, including the 2026 estimated municipal tax rate. The municipal tax rate is down by 17 cents, or 35%, over the last 8 years. Tinton Falls has the third lowest average residential property taxes out of the 53 municipalities in Monmouth County. So our Municipal Open Space Trust Fund budget. This budget shows actual revenues and expenditures for 2021 through 2025 and the proposed budget for 2026. Our municipal tax rate is 2.25 cents per $100 in assessed valuation. and that was approved by voter referendum. That rate does not change year to year. It always stays at the 2.25 cents. For 2026, we're going to start the year with about $113,000 in that trust fund. The tax levy will be about $1,350,000. We also anticipate receiving $2,250,000 in a county acquisition grant for the Kearney Farm. So we'll have total revenues of about $3,615,000. And below that is our expenditures of that trust fund. We do utilize some of these trust funds to maintain our open space areas through our Department of Public Works. About $140,000 in salary and wages is utilized there. We have some other miscellaneous expenses in maintaining the parks and open space areas. And then below that, we have the acquisition of open space property of $3 million. So that acquisition of the Kearney's Farm will be done all in cash and grants, so we won't be issuing any debt to acquire that farm. We're doing it all through the Open Space Trust Fund. And below that is the debt service that we are paying on our open space debt. So sewer utility budget. The sewer utility budget from 2025 compared to 2026, it's very stable. The total budget last year was $5,371,000. This year it's $5,386,000. You can see the most of the appropriations have stayed pretty stable. The capital outlay is up $200,000, which Tom will discuss more during the capital budget presentation. But the sewer is in very good financial shape. It's debt-free and it's self-supporting. Capital projects overviews. The 2026 budget adheres to the 2023 revision of the borough's long-term capital debt management plan that allowed for an increase of 70% in road infrastructure funding over a 10-year period. The plan proposed to maintain a stable total annual debt service budget appropriation, fund approximately $20 million in road improvements, and reduce net debt by an average of $500,000 per year, or $5 million over that 10-year period. Under the revised plan, all non-road infrastructure capital items continue to be appropriated and paid for in cash without incurring debt. Total planned capital program in 2026 is $9,749,000. It's consisting of $8,971,000 in general improvements and $778,000 in sewer utility improvements. We're making use of $1,703,000 in direct cash operating budget capital appropriations. We're very proud to allocate that cash within the capital improvement sections of the current and sewer operating budgets. These cash-funded investments help reduce the need for future debt issuance and further strengthen the borough's financial position. This is a schedule of our capital program for the year. Tom's going to provide more information, but I'll just review this briefly. The top of it is our road, sidewalk, and stormwater improvements for this year. See, we're doing some culvert improvements. We're flashing beacons, Wilshire Drive outfall repairs, also pipelining and some drainage, inlet, curb pieces, and grates. So $1,761,000 for road, sidewalk, and stormwater improvements. We are funding that with savings from our last two road improvement programs. The projections, the estimates of the costs, the actual cost came in significantly less than what we had appropriated, so we have these extra funds on hand that we're going to utilize in this fashion, and we will not be authorizing any additional debt for that. Under the open space acquisitions, you have the Walls Park development, which Tom will get into more when he discusses the capital program. And then we have the acquisition of the Kearney's Farm, which is a $3 million acquisition. It's going to be funded by $750,000 in cash from our open space account and $2,250,000 in grants. This is our other miscellaneous acquisition and improvements under our capital program. These are all cash-funded improvements that are directly budgeted in the operating budget. Acquisition of a sanitation truck, a salter attachment, improvements to buildings and grounds, refurbishment of a brine truck, a utility card acquisition, acquisition of 2 dump trucks for DPW, acquisition of borough and DPW trucks, and automated refuse containers. So we'll be acquiring about $1,110,000 in equipment, again, without issuing debt. The last part of the section of this chart is the sewer improvements. See, we have about $778,000 in sewer improvements, all being funded in the operating budget. And with that, I would like to turn it over to the borough's engineer, Tom Neff, to review the capital program in more detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Up on this slide, you'll see that over just the last couple years, really 2.5 years or so, we've been able to obtain over $4.35 million in grants. If you go through the list, you'll see there's quite a variety of amounts and projects, everything from the standard DOT municipal aid grants that we aim for every year. We're able to get close to $500,000 for Rutgers Drive for the last 2 years. We have some DCA grants that are relatively newer over the last couple years. We've just started getting those grants, everything from recreation improvements to public safety improvements throughout the municipal complex. You'll see we have at the top the biggest grant that I'm aware we've ever received. I didn't do a full deep dive research, but at least in the last 15 years or so, that's by far the largest grant for Carney's Farm. Big thanks to Monmouth County for assisting us with that grant for $2.25 million. And then some smaller grants we're able to get. You know, we'll go after anything that we can get. We got the Sustainable Jersey grant for the environmental resource inventory, which I know is moving along nicely. We got a DEP stormwater grant to develop a GIS mapping program for all of our stormwater. We're just about to start the application for community forestry management grant. I have to think about that one for a second. We haven't submitted yet, but we just had a meeting for that one. That's to develop a forestry management plan for the borough. So again, this is just, you know, more money that we're able to get that offsets what we have to collect through taxes from the residents. So getting to some of the specific projects, biggest one is typically the road program. As Tom mentioned a few years ago, we started doing, instead of every year smaller projects, we do one large project every 2 years. It typically gets us better prices just based on the volume, gets us better contractors. It avoids projects overlapping and more disruptions to the residents and businesses. So for this year, with the 2026 road program, it was actually funded in 2025 and designed. It was just recently awarded to P&A Construction, and we'll be looking to have a pre-construction meeting in the next couple weeks to get this project started. You can see the full list of the roads here. We have all of Rutgers Drive. We have Locust Grove Road, West Park Avenue from where we stopped last year. Last year we went Heritage to Shafto, now we're going Heritage to Hope Road. We have Oakdale, Honey, and Brook Street neighborhood, Sheila Drive, Silvercrest, and White Birch Court, Shea Lane, and then down in Park Place we have Garrison and Williamsburg area, those streets, and finally we have Woodland Manor. So here's just a couple pictures of what we're looking at. These pictures, I'm not gonna lie, are actually from last year, so I'm sure it's even worse now. We have Rutgers Drive. This is what we got the DOT grants for. This is West Park Avenue by the Parkway overpass. You can just see there's trenches everywhere, cracking, DPWs trying to do what they can as much as possible, doing pothole repairs, but it really needs to be repaved. Oakdale Drive and Honey Lane. You You can see this neighborhood, the streets are cracked, depressions. We're actually going to be replacing all of the concrete curbs out here as well, because those have settled and cracked. They have a lot of issues. Revere, Garrison, those neighborhoods over by Park Place. You can see there's a lot of standing water. We're going to be doing under drains in those neighborhoods we typically do. It drives up the cost, but it helps, keeps the roads dry, the lawns dry, and prolongs the life of the asphalt, because there's just very high groundwater out there. Next, under pedestrian safety or sidewalk category, we're going to be looking to do a couple more of these rectangular rapid flashing beacons, or RRFBs as they're known as. We started making a push for these throughout town where possible a couple years ago. The first one we did was at Atchison School on Sycamore. We worked with the county on that one. And then most recently on our own, we did at Wardell Park and also down at Essex Road near the outlets, for everyone who's walking all the way down from the apartments up on Pine Street, down through Seabrook, down to Soldier On, so those residents can cross Essex. We have since gotten some requests for flashing beacons at the other schools in town. First one, we got a few at the middle school, and then we've recently gotten requests at Swimming River School as well on Hants Ave. So originally we thought we would only be able to afford one, and then we just found out recently that the county is starting a new program where if it's on a county road like these are, the county will actually take the lead in designing and installing it, and we just split the price. So we're essentially getting 2 for 1 if we can do these. So we'll have to go through, the county's process and, be stuck with their schedule a little bit, but, we'll be able to get 2 instead of 1. So we'll be working with the county in the near future to get the ball rolling on that project. Drainage is a big push this year. We had started some of these last year with the permitting processes. Pine Brook Road drainage pipe repairs. This is just a long stretch of old pipe that has cracked, and we're going to look at lining it instead of replacing it to save some money. And then a big one is this Wardell Road culvert replacement. This is one that we designed last year and just got through DEP permitting finally. This is the large culvert on Wardell Road, a little north of the intersection with Shark River. There's been a lot of potholes out there, settlement. You'll see sometimes it's spray painted. That one is out to bid currently, so we'll be looking to award that project at one of the May council meetings. Here we have Wilshire Drive outfall repairs. This is something we discovered during a routine inspection. The pipe is an old corrugated metal pipe, and the bottom is just completely corroded and rotted away. In turn led to some erosion, and then the head wall to collapse into the stream. So this is a big project. We've done them throughout town before. We've had some on River Edge, some on Parmley Road. So this is a big project, but obviously it's needed to protect the slope there and the houses at the top of the hill. Also, we're going to start doing a drainage inlet upgrade project. Typically we replace the drainage inlets when we pave a road, but DEP has set a mandate that by the end of 2027, they all have to be updated. So the upper right corner is the old style, big opening in the curb piece, big stream flow grates they call it. And then the bottom is what we have to do now. Sorry, Mike. They call it the bike safe grate. You don't get your bike tire stuck in it if you're driving over it, and the main thing is between that grate and the grate on the curb, it keeps the waterways much cleaner, keeps all the debris, soda bottles, garbage, everything out of the drainage pipes and streams. This is the library. As Tom mentioned, we found some savings in prior road jobs, so we are able to have some funding for this project. This is what we are looking at. We had submitted for a CDBG grant last year. We did not get awarded, but we were like just below the cusp, so there's a chance we could still get some CDBG funds for this, but if not, It does look like we have enough funds to do this. So we'd be reconstructing the existing parking lot on the south side, and I think adding one space there, and just leveling it out, cleaning it all up, adding some new walkways. And then the main thing is on the north side, in just the open space area, adding 11 new parking spaces on that side, just because we hear constantly that there's not enough parking for different events at the library. Moving on to park improvements, this one is Walls Park. This is another one that was started last year. We're hoping to get it into construction last summer, but we unfortunately have been hung up going back and forth with DEP for a year now on permit issues that we have back and forth, but we do think we are getting through that now, and we should be able to get the permits this year and get this awarded later this year. So just as a reminder what this project is, walking trails throughout the property. It's just under 2 miles, I think, if you include the different cut-throughs. There's going to be a fishing platform at the pond, and then up in the front area will be a parking lot, restroom building, so much some of the others we've done, and then a nice little tot lot playground, kind of a farm theme to match the old farm use of the property. For those who don't know, Walls property is at the south end of town. This is Shark River Road here and Wardell Road here. It's just under Mazza's property to the north. Carney's Farm, Tom mentioned this one. This was a huge win for us. It's about 13 acres. It is surrounded to the west and south by the borough's Hockoxen Park, some residential to the north. Again, we got $2.25 million in grants, total $3 million acquisition. So we're just in the due diligence phase of this right now, hoping to close sometime this summer, most likely. And the main goal here is just to not build townhouses. So at some point, maybe we'll do a playground or something, but right now we just wanted to protect it as open space. And finally, we have sanitary sewer. Standard stuff that we do every year for the most part. Squonkam Drive pump station upgrades. This is one of the last older ones that needs to be modernized and upgraded. Continue to do the I&I study, which is inflow and infiltration, to make sure we're not getting groundwater or rainwater into our sewer system that we then have to pay to treat at the treatment plant. We want to keep out as much I&I as we can, just to save costs. Various pump station improvements. This is miscellaneous stuff. A lot of it is going to be done by DPW in-house. Things like roof repairs, new doors, new lights, new vents, minor upgrades like that. And then acquisition of a mini excavator is just to increase efficiency of DPW staff. Sometimes they have to do work by hand. That takes a while. That can be done much faster. Or they have to rent this equipment or try to borrow it from another town. So we're going to make this purchase just to save money and time in the long run. And I think I will turn it over to Tom again to wrap it up.
Thank you. So the timeline for the rest of the budget tonight would be the introduction of the budget after the council votes to introduce. The budget will then be posted on the borough's website in whole and in summary. And you need 28 days between the introduction and a public hearing. So the public hearing, which is when the public can come and ask questions or have comments with regards to the budget, will be held on Tuesday, May 19th at that council meeting, and then hopefully adoption of the budget at that same meeting. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fallon and Mr. Neff, with your presentations. This is the one presentation that I send to as many people I know because it entails everything of what the borough does for the residents here. And all their questions usually can be answered with your presentation. So thank you very much. Before we move on to the next items on our agenda, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break at 8:20. Evening. Picking up with reports, beginning with Mr. Neff, our Borough Engineer. Do you have any more?
I have no further report.
Thank you, Mr. Neff. Our Mayor, Mayor Clay.
Yes, thank you, Council President. just going to my report right now. Let's see. On April 8th, I had the opportunity, along with Councilman Alessi, to speak to the Tinton Falls seniors at St. Anselm, and it was a very large and very lively group that had a number of questions. And I was very happy to be there and hopefully to be invited back another day. Then, on the opposite end of the spectrum, on the 15th, I'm leading up to the opposite end of the spectrum, my apologies. On the 15th, myself and Mr. Neff attended the mayor meeting just to have some updates on what's happening over at Fort Monmouth. And as I think most people are aware, most of what's happening doesn't really involve Tinton Falls in the way that it involves Eatontown and Oceanport. But still good to be a part of the discussions. On the 16th, I had the best day ever when I was able to present to the entire first grade and then the entire second grade at Atchison School for New Jersey Local Government Week. The librarian, Lauren Gormley, assisted me, and we did a reading called If I Built a Town. And the kids had the most amazing suggestions for what they thought should be present in our town, and it was very enjoyable. And I must say, I've never seen so many well-behaved kids. I'm used to high school, it's a whole different ballgame. On the 18th, it was our Little League opening day, and Little League baseball and softball, and I had the exciting honor of throwing the first two pitches, and it really was a beautiful celebration with a parade and a banner contest, and many thanks to the coaches, to the parents, to our police department, our DPW, and the fire departments. So much work goes into that day, and it's apparent when you're there. And then yesterday, I did a podcast with a local group. Their name is More Than Capable, and it's actually a program for adults who are special needs adults, and it's a program post-high school. And they actually have developed a podcast system, and I believe the police department is going to be the next interview. And they did a little interview, and it was really great. So that was pretty amazing. And today, myself and Mr. Fallon and the chief participated in a call with the county to get more information on how we can spend some of our opioid dollars, and specifically what ways we can use that within the community for, it doesn't have to be solely opioids, for prevention, for education, and for deterrence programs. So stay tuned, there'll be more to come on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Clay. Next is our Director of Law, Mr. Starkey.
Thank you, Council President. I do not have a report for tonight.
Thank you. Our clerk, Mrs. Hutchinson.
I have no report this evening, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to council reports, beginning with Mr. Alessi.
Thank you, Council President. Just want to thank our borough professionals, Mr. Neff and Mr. Fallon. That was fantastic. Make it very easy to understand for all of us. And it's a lot of hard work done behind the scenes, so thank you very much. As far as the planning board goes, tomorrow, there's no meeting tomorrow. The next meeting will be next month, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Alessi. Ms. Buckley?
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to start by echoing the thanks for Mr. Fallon and Mr. Neff. Can't see see Mr. Fallon over there. But thank you for an excellent budget presentation. I also try to share the presentation and refer to it multiple times throughout the year when residents ask questions, even just when is X road being repaired. It's all there. So really, really thank you guys for that presentation. I'd also like to echo the thanks for Little League opening day. I was happy to participate in that again this year. So fun seeing all the kids with the banner contest, all excited. So that was a wonderful morning. And finally, our Earth Day celebration will be this Saturday at Sycamore Park from 11 to 1, 11 to 2. Thank you, Ellen. All are welcome to stop by. Please stop by for as short as long as you want. It'll be a great day. That's all from my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Buckley. Mr. Neese?
Yes, thank you, Council President. Yes, I'd like to thank everybody that worked on the budget. It came out beautifully and is understandable, and I did take a picture of it, so when I'm asked by others how we pay our taxes, it'll give me a good reference to let them know exactly how it is. On 4/11, I participated in a class through Rutgers, Power and Duties of Municipal Governing Body, and I was involved with the Little League Parade, which was beautiful. I haven't been to a parade except for driving a fire truck, but this time I was able to be on the other side of it. It was a great presentation, and the Recreation Department as well as putting on a great show. Also, the next zoning board meeting is on 4/23 at 7:30 here, Thursday night. And one last thing would be to, don't forget Memorial Day is coming quickly, 5/25, and it'll be 11 a.m. at Sycamore Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neese. Mr. Parikh?
Thank you, Council President. First, I want to echo congratulations to Mr. Fallon and Mr. Neff. I know how complicated things can be in town, and you guys did a phenomenal job of simplifying a very complex and complicated budget, and it speaks volumes to your efforts when we've upgraded our credit rating. Looking forward to the next upgrade to see when you guys get all the way to the top. Lovely to see the surplus continue to grow, and it's great to hear that we have one of the lowest tax rates in the state. With current events, I also attended the Little League opening parade and also participated in it. I want to thank the Little League and softball organizations, as well as the rec and the DPW for doing such a wonderful job, as well as the police for supporting all the efforts of the parade. It was a wonderful day, and everyone in town just seemed to enjoy it. It was my first parade, and I could definitely see why our town is so big on Little League and softball. It was quite enjoyable. With updates from liaisons, from the Crawford House and Historical Preservation Committee, I attended a panel discussion of revolutionary politics. It was titled, "What Would You Do in 1776?" on April 15th. It is quite engaging. They did a fantastic job of getting panel experts to speak, along with our very own Linda Zaccaro of the Crawford House. Upcoming events at the Crawford House which are part of the 250th celebration of the nation, include in May 2nd and 3rd, a weekend at Old Monmouth, the Juneteenth celebration at the Crawford House on June 13th, and we are in the process of planning a trivia night, which will be themed around the 250th celebration for sometime in the latter part of June in town. So I'll share that with everyone as that becomes available, solidified, and that's all I have. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Parikh. And as for myself, I'd like to reiterate the comments made by Ms. Buckley about Earth Fest today, this Saturday on the 25th. This isn't just an event, it's a statement that Tinton Falls cares about its environment, its neighbors, and its future. So what can you expect? There's something for everyone. There will be an educational outreach with booths and exhibits, a park trail cleanup so we can give back to the green spaces we love, and a poster contest for our young artist environmental champions. Also, raffles, giveaways, local vendors, and a kids' corner packed with trivia and prizes to keep the little ones engaged and inspired. This is an event made possible through the hard work of the Tinton Falls Department of Public Works, our Environmental Commission, the Green Team, and the New Jersey Clean Communities. So bring your family, bring your neighbors, and come and have some fun. It's, again, this is Saturday at Sycamore Park from 11 to 2. Moving on to ordinances. There are 2 ordinances on for introduction this evening. I'd like to remind the public that when an ordinance is introduced, there is no public discussion. The public discussion for the following ordinance will take place when it is up for final consideration. With that, may I ask the clerk to read the title of the first ordinance?
2025-1546, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. The public hearing will be held on May 5th, 2026, or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached on the agenda.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the introduction of this ordinance?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Neese. May I have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Ms. Buckley. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Alessi?
Yes.
Ms. Buckley?
Yes.
Mr. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Parikh?
Yes.
Mr. Nessie?
Yes. May I ask the clerk to read the title of the last ordinance?
2026-1547, an ordinance amending Section 5-6 of the Borough Code entitled Peddling, Canvassing, and Soliciting. The public hearing will be held on May 5th, 2026, or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached on the agenda.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the introduction of this ordinance?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Alessi. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Parikh. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Alessi?
Yes.
Ms. Buckley?
Yes.
Mr. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Parikh?
Yes.
Mr. Nessie?
Yes. Moving on to ordinances for final consideration. There is one ordinance for final consideration. We will hold a public hearing with comments being limited to 3 minutes. Comments may only pertain to this ordinance. May I ask the clerk to read the title of the ordinance?
2026-1545, an ordinance amending Chapter 5 of the Borough Code entitled General Licensing to confirm the borough's status as a film-ready community.
May I have a motion to open the public discussion on this ordinance?
Motion?
Thank you, Ms. Buckley. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Parikh. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on this ordinance? Please remember to state your name and town for the record.
Ellen Goldberg, 90 Glenwood Drive. I'm just not familiar with what this is all about. Can we have a little explanation?
Sure. Mr. Starkey?
Yes, there's New Jersey Film and Television Commission is a state entity, and they work with any production companies that want to come into New Jersey. Netflix being the big example, but there's a lot of smaller examples. And they will go to the commission and say, we'd like to go to a town that is film ready, which means we know what the permits are going to be, we know what the timeline is going to be, we know when we can film, where we can film. Everything is already set, and the idea behind it is to make it simple, easy for production companies to come into town. We're going to have lists of restaurants, lists of dry cleaning, lists of local hardware stores, places they can go when they need things. So everything is sort of packaged together so they can come in. This ordinance is modeled on, actually it's identical to, the model ordinance set forth by the Film and Television Commission. It's sort of a one-size-fits-all. If you want to be on their list of a film-ready town, one of the things you need to do is adopt this ordinance. And it sets out, as I said, the licensing, the timeframes, the fees, all of that. We are then going to be film-ready. There's a number of other towns that already are film-ready. We're now on the list. So when a film production company comes into New Jersey, Tinton Falls is one of the places they're going to come to shoot.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Starkey. That was a better answer than mine.
Okay.
Yes.
Frank Matula, 43 Lenox Drive, Tinton Falls. I guess along the same question about this film-ready status, does that also limit how residents could potentially peddle their properties for use? Do you know?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
How the town would, does it also sort of dictate how residents can have studios potentially use their homes for shoots or anything, or?
The answer is yes, homes can be used for filming. This ordinance doesn't change zoning to allow things aren't allowed, but we've been told by the Film and TV Commission that is fairly regular, that they may come in and shoot for a day in a house that they choose, or maybe a couple of houses on a street. But it's not changing the zoning to say, this part of town you can film in and this part you can't. So it's, I think more generic than that.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Alessi. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Neese. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any council members that would like to comment on this ordinance?
I think this is a great idea. It says we're reaffirming, because I remember we did this already, right? So this is just, is it a requirement to reaffirm every periodically, or did
No,
the
no.
regulations change or something?
There were changes to the model ordinance issued by the Film and Television Commission.
Okay.
I honestly don't know why, but, so it's to adopt their amended ordinance in effect.
Okay. So even if you're already film ready, basically to keep that status, you've got to redo this?
Correct.
Got it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I just want to make a comment. I think it's great. I think historically, we're looking at the 250th anniversary of America. We just celebrated the 75th anniversary of Tinton Falls. And I think the generations to come, to be able to look back and potentially movies filmed here, and potentially the house that they grew up in, the restaurant that they grew up going to, things like that. I think historically and in the future, it's going to be great for Tinton Falls.
May I have a motion for adoption?
Motion?
Thank you, Ms. Buckley. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Parikh. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Alessi?
Yes.
Ms. Buckley?
Yes.
Mr. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Parikh?
Yes.
Mr. Nessie?
Yes. We will now move on to public discussion. May I have a motion to open the public discussion?
Motion?
Thank you, Ms. Buckley. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Parikh. All in favor?
Aye.
Before we begin public comment, I'd like to remind everyone that the procedures are outlined in the public comment section of the agenda. When you come up to speak, please clearly state your name and town for the clerk. You will have 3 minutes, and all remarks must remain respectful and follow the rules noted in the agenda. At this time, I would like to ask the clerk if any public comments were submitted prior to the meeting.
There were none.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to make a comment or a question? You can come up to the podium. Ms. Goldberg?
Long time no see. Ellen Goldberg, 90 Gilman Drive. Thank you very much, Mr. Fallon and Mr. Neff, for your presentation. Question about the library to Mr. Neff. I think you said 11 parking spaces on the northbound side. Does that mean they're going to be taking down those beautiful trees?
Yes. I'm sure we can find somewhere else to plant some new trees. We get bombarded regularly from the library and from residents that there's just not enough parking anywhere out there, especially when the school's holding events also. And that's really the only space to add parking anywhere near there.
I'm on the board of the library. I understand, and I realize that there are times when it's really hard to park there, but you know how I feel about trees. And then the RRFB, the crossing, so there's the crosswalks that are there, but now we're going to get the flashing signs?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay. And is there going to be a button that you can push to cross?
Yeah,
that
if you
kind of
go
thing?
over to Ashton School, or if you were down at Wardell Park, it'll be the same thing as what's out there.
Okay,
Yep.
good. And then I'm not sure who to address this to. What is the status of the Carney Farm right now?
Currently, it's being preserved for open space with no plans in the future right now to do anything with the property, but preserve it.
Okay. But, I mean, where are we at as far as the transitioning into to the town?
Yeah, so we are in what we call due diligence. You know, we've adopted some resolutions at past council meetings. We're working with the county on their necessary paperwork. Just today, I reached out to Mrs. Carney's daughter about setting up, we have to do some site inspections, some environmental studies out there just to make sure there's no issues. You know, we don't anticipate any. We've all been out there, but we have to go through the process, especially because we're getting the county funding to bring in a consultant to do a survey of the property and these environmental studies. So I think once those are done, which are scheduled to start on Friday, we should move pretty quick.
Okay, thank you. And then the last thing I wanted to present out on behalf of the Environmental Commission, we had an ERI presentation at the Crawford House a week ago on the weekend, and it went very, very well. We would have loved to have had more people there from the community, but the presentation itself was excellent, and I want to publicly thank Tatiana Pinto-Swenda and Barbara Kohlberg for all of their efforts that they continuously have put into this ERI project. And I'm not sure if Ms. Buckley had announced it, but we have our next Environmental Commission meeting on Thursday at 7 o'clock at the Crawford House. Thank you. Oh,
Buzzer beater. Would anyone else from the public like to speak? Yes.
Frank Matula, Tinton Falls, New Jersey. So it's interesting that we have an ordinance for peddling, canvassing, and soliciting, because that's kind of my question or my comment. I guess over the weekend, well, let's start with around COVID time. I started noticing people driving around our neighborhoods, because I'd spoken to other friends in and around the town, asking people if they're interested in selling their vehicles, for instance. And so this weekend, I got a notice attached to my mailbox. And not that I'm concerned for theft, but I'm wondering if there's been any concern or any history of people walking or driving around and asking people if they want to sell their vehicle. It seems like I'm getting bothered by the same individual. I have actually a phone number. They left a card attached to my mailbox. And again, I don't mind if people are interested in buying something and they're aggressive in a respectful way to kind of put themselves out there to ask if someone wants to sell something. But I've just kind of noticed it's been a little more common and in my neighborhood in the Lennox Drive area where I live. And I'm just wondering if there's been any connection or association with this kind of behavior with thefts. Because when I was a kid growing up in Scotch Plains, New Jersey, there was something similar going on, but it was connected eventually to people coming in from Newark and thefts. And I'm just wondering if there's any concern behind this, or, you know, if you guys have heard of people doing this in your parts of the neighborhood. That's pretty much it.
I have not heard any correlation, but I will find out some answers and see if we can find some. Yes.
Hello, good evening. Teresa Beach, Plum Street in Tinton Falls. And I just want to say, this is my first meeting, so thank you. Everything was presented very well. But also to say thank you to Mayor Clay. My granddaughter is in Miss Ruth's second grade class at Atchison, and she brought her certificate home. It's on the refrigerator. She just had a marvelous day. So thank you, you know, for opening up some new things to her.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak tonight? Hearing none. May I have a motion to close the public discussion?
Motion.
Thank you, Ms. Buckley. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Alessi. All in favor?
Aye.
Does any member of council have anything to add this evening?
Not-
We have one resolution to vote on separately this evening. May I ask the clerk to read the title of the resolution?
R 26 079, introduction of the 2026 municipal budget.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve this resolution?
Motion.
Thank you, Ms. Buckley. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Neese. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Alessi?
Yes.
Ms. Buckley?
Yes.
Mr. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Parikh?
Yes.
Mr. Nessie?
Yes. Now, we will move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items any member of council would like to be removed or voted on separately tonight? Okay, hearing none. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Neese. May I have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mr. Parikh. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Alessi?
Yes.
Ms. Buckley?
Yes.
Mr. Neese?
Yes.
Mr. Parikh?
Yes.
Mr. Nessie?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt consent agenda.
This concludes today's business. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Thank you, Ms. Buckley. May I have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Mr. Parikh. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is now adjourned at 8:46. Thank you to all our attendees for participation in orderly conduct this evening. Please exit the courtroom in